So let me just formally start this demonstration. And it is about creating a single page portfolio website and hosting it on a serverless platform. We'll not be connecting a domain with it yet because you probably do not have a domain. But later, if you want, you can connect a domain with it also. Okay. Now, our framework would be what we had decided yesterday, that will be taking help of the AI to generate the page. So we need to first write a prompt which gets the result for us, then generate the code and use that in VS Code, set up the project, push it to GitHub, connect to Vercel, and then finally deploy. There are three stages: design, develop, and deploy. After deployment, test, which loops back to develop. If there are some development related issues, we can fix it there and further keep on iterating if required by going back to the design and then making the change. Now, what is Vercel? It's a serverless PaaS, platform as a service, which gives you single click deployment, automatically fetches content from your GitHub. What is GitHub? What is GitHub? GitHub is a version controlling platform which allows user to manage the codes via Git. What is Git? Git is a proven framework, a tool which can be installed locally and allows you to version control your codes. What is version controlling? So when you code, things gets complex incrementally. So Git allows you to make branches of your code and then allow you to do changes to it, commit those changes and push those changes to the master branch or separate branches. It allows you to merge the branches also. If you want to learn more about GitHub, you can go to github.com and find out more. When you had downloaded VS Code and you had set up your account, it automatically led you to creating an account on GitHub. Now, if I sign in, you will see the projects I am working on. These are my projects, which are managed by Git and are kept on GitHub. Okay. So these are the projects. So one of the recent projects has these many files within the project. It also tells me in which language this project is done. So 85% is TypeScript. And then we have Postgres, SQL, which is a language in which database is created, database is defined, migrations are run. So that is there. Then some amount of JavaScript, some amount of PowerShell. So all this is kept here. These are the branches I have created while working on this. Now these branches may point at a different feature in my application. Okay. Now this entire code base is connected with Vercel. This is the URL of the application which we have built, and you can see I can take you to the dashboard. Okay. All right. If I make any changes to the code and push it to GitHub, it pushes the code to Vercel for deployment. Let me open up the Vercel and then show you the project, the same project. You can see the URL here and a small preview here also. If you go to the deployments, then you will see the versions and how many times it has been deployed. Sometimes the deployment fails, then we need to fix the errors and then continuing doing so. So for our purposes, when we are just working with one single page website, we are not working with a complex system. We are primarily working with just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and there is no database connected to it, and also there is no user auth required, and there are many other features which we do not require. So our deployments are not going to be so complicated. Also, this deployment needed a different kind of setup. It's not a static deployment, but rather it's something which um, requires uh, Next.js and Supabase to function. Supabase for database and Next.js, a framework, a React framework for developing applications. Okay. Let me show you the other projects I have deployed here. Okay. So another platform I was working on this course, AI for designers, and created this. Works in dark mode as well. And okay, I forgot the credentials. I'm not going to try it. I'm just showing you that multiple projects can be deployed on Vercel. There is another platform called Netlify, which allows you to do the same. You can explore that as well. Both are pretty much similar in nature. I like Vercel more because it's more user friendly, and I like the interface basically because it's neat, clean. Yesterday, we had already, to some extent, achieved these three stages, and that is why we have this available to us. But I'm going to repeat this process once again. Okay. So this is single page website which we had created yesterday. And we also managed to copy the code and then put it on the VS Code. Correct? So I'm just going to start with a clean slate. Let's close everything. Close this also. And I'm going to create a folder and call it, let's say, portfolio 2026. And I'm going to use this as my root folder. So I'll start VS Code and start with a new window and drag that folder into VS Code. Let's close this welcome dialog box. And I have this portfolio 2026, right? And I don't want to use the inbuilt editors because yesterday we saw that it was a little complicated to work with these. So I would rather rely upon ChatGPT for giving me the codes, and we will copy the codes and manually paste it here. Before we start that, we shall understand that a web page is essentially text, some text, some icons, some graphics, and images and links. That's all, right? And videos, right? So our goal for this demonstration is to quickly be able to do end-to-end exercise. That means create a page with all such elements I just mentioned, take that into VS Code, push it to GitHub and connect the GitHub to Vercel and deploy it and have a URL which can be shared to people, right? While doing it, I also want to ensure that my page is mobile friendly, responsive in nature, shall adopt screen, right? So these are the things I should be first writing as a prompt, okay? And I'm not gonna specify all these things here, but rather just tell it to the chat GPT. I'm not gonna type these things, but rather speak to it, okay? And I want you to notice how I'm constructing this entire project, okay? How I'm starting. Before I want it to start coding, I need to prep it. And that's what we are going to do. So let's go to the chat GPT and I'm going to start with a fresh thread and I'll sequentially program this to deliver the result I want. For prompting, we understand that context, specificity, and clarity. These three things are absolutely important. So let's start. First, I'm going to give it context, which will have two parts. The first part is how this is going to act, right? What role ChatGPT or any other language models we are using is supposed to play in this entire process, followed by what we want out of it. And then further go on specifying it and then clarifying if there are any doubts. Okay, let's start. Act as an intermediate level coder who can develop beautiful, insightful portfolio websites and specializes in creating single page websites, have the knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and have good amount of understanding of user experience design and user interface design. This project is about demonstrating a group of students how they could quickly build a single page portfolio website with multiple sections, which essentially shows their skill sets, their abilities, who they are, and sums it up well for any potential employer to quickly gauge their talent and maybe engage in further communication by connecting with them through an input through a form. This should be specifically tailored for design students, and it should look like a design portfolio. I would prefer a very minimal futuristic approach when it comes to designing the UI. First, I want you to structure the page and give me the idea what you have understood from this um, conversation. And after the structure is approved, I want the structure of the entire page in terms of the sections and the content which are going to go inside. Assume that the design the designer for whom we are building this portfolio comes from a communication design background and has taken courses about typography, print design, web design, and uh, generative AI for design. So such kind of courses they have done. They also have learned some design specific softwares from Adobe Suite. They have some idea about whiteboarding tools also, since they have explored Figma and other whiteboarding platforms such as Miro. And yes, so that's pretty much it. I want a structure, a very clean, crisp structure, followed by the content which are going to go within those sections. And for images, we can use stock images as placeholder from Unsplash, and later we will change those images in the codes. Great. Let's just push it and wait for it to give us a quick structure. So let me just verify quickly by reading this if it understood the assignment well, or should I try again? You want a teachable single page portfolio template that design student can build quickly with HTML plus CSS plus little JS, and which feels minimal plus futuristic. Okay, fine, fine. So it understood the goal to some extent, but I think I haven't defined things so clearly to it. So I'm gonna iterate on what I said. Okay. This is not a template, but rather an example website I want to create for the demonstration. So refactor your understanding. Another thing is that we would like to use the latest Bootstrap library 5.3.3, or just find out the latest Bootstrap. And rather than writing custom CSS, we would rely on the Bootstrap library. Also, make sure that the page is responsive and adapts to the vertical and horizontal mobile layouts and the tablet as well as the desktop and the laptop. Give me in short the structure, and the content which can go in the structure, assuming that you are building it for a communication design student. So great. I think it did a fair job starting with a hero section, immediate clarity plus personality plus call to action, name. Acha, gave a name Arav Mehta also as a placeholder. Communication designer, typography, brand. Fine. I think content wise it's doing well. We can always change it later. Okay, got it. An example demo site, not a reusable template, built mostly with Bootstrap components. Good. Responsive across mobile, portrait, landscape, laptop, desktop. Bootstrap version to use, latest. Okay. And it says official version is fine. So you said Python 3.3. I'm assuming. Did I say Python? Did I say Python? Did I mention Python? No. Just overhearing me. Anyway, see, it's always a good idea you read what it has outputted. Otherwise, there'll be some miscommunication. It's smart enough to understand. So when you said Python 3.3, I'm assuming you meant Bootstrap 5.3. Good. Yes, I think it understood me fairly well, and now it's time to ask it to code, right? So I'm gonna ask it to code. Write code for this single page website based on the content you have generated, and make sure that my intent is clear to you. I'll be using that code by copying it into my VS Code project and later pushing it to the GitHub and then um, deploying it on Vercel. So that's the end-to-end intent. Give me the code and give it in one single file. In Canvas so that I can preview before finalizing. Well, I can pass on some personal information as well, right? Right now is the time when you can pass on your name, who you are, a little more about you, or you may also train it to ask you questions. Okay, so I'm not going to do that, but I'll tell you this trick. You can write a prompt and then say, ask me 10 questions, assuming that I am the person for which you need to build a website, a portfolio website, and ask the questions by giving ask objective give the questions with objective answers to choose from. So it will give you 10 questions, right? And with four options to choose from. So that acts as the specificity and clarity layer. I'm not going to do that because it will unnecessarily extend the process, but it's a good thing to do. It will also save a lot of time because otherwise you will have to go back and then edit the content yourself. So what you can simply do is pass on your name, pass on your area of interest and anything which it asks you. It's like it is going to interview you by asking some questions and give you options to choose from also. You can also subjectively hide things, but it's simpler that you just pick A, B, C, and things are done. It started writing the code for me. I can see that it imported Bootstrap 5.3.3. It also imported Bootstrap icon pack and some of the inline CSS is also there, um, which is fine. I can put it in the external CSS file. I can see that I have a navigation, work, skills, about, process, and contact. You can specify about the navigation also. It's a single page website. So all these are anchored links. And I can see that by checking the href property here, attribute. which has pound sign followed by the name of the section. Great. Okay. So by the time it finishes writing the code, we would require at least a couple of files here. So I'm gonna create index.html, and I'm also going to create style.css. HTML is case sensitive, so make sure that you use some sort of convention. There is a convention which is very popular and known as camel backing, that you start with small case and the next word you start with capital. Okay, so if I have two words, then I'm gonna write it like and for the folder, see, it's a good idea that you don't use capital letters at all. But if there are two words, you always type it without spaces and do camel backing. Hmm? So I'm going to type images, and by mistake I have created a file called images, which was not the intent. And if you don't give any file the extension, then it will be just like a text file. You can still type things in it, but VS Code wouldn't understand what this file is for. So I'm going to delete it. I don't want this here. I would rather create a folder and call it images. Okay. And let me just quickly check if we have some JavaScript also there in this file. It is still writing the code. At the top, I don't see script. It's a good practice actually to append the script after the HTML tag is closed. And there is a reason for that also, because you would want to see the script is here after the HTML tag. Yeah, so the script is here after the footer. Footer is over, and then goes the script here. Okay, so I can leave the script where it is, but it would be a good practice to also separate it a different file in case that you have multiple pages later on and you would want the same script to serve those files also. Let's click on the preview button and then see what it built for us. Wow, looks nice. We have a fully functioning, beautiful single page website ready, right? And it's in dark mode, or I can ask to create a light mode version of it also. Oh, there is a image which is missing here. Okay, right. So I'm not gonna go and then change the design here. The top priority is to be able to use this code to build the website and then make it live. And after that, we should be able to do this. So this is where we are. We have generated the code. The next is use that in VS Code. We have already set up the project, so we just need to copy paste. This phase is crucial. I want to quickly go to this part so that I can tell you if something needs to be tweaked up, how you could do that. Let's go back, and I'm gonna copy the code by clicking here and then go to VS Code, go to index.html and paste all of it. Okay. And let's quickly test. Oh, I need to save this first. Let's quickly test. Open it in browser and you can see the exact same content is served well. Nice. Takes me to the skills, the links work, process, contact, and you can download the CV also. So it understood the job well, right? We can change this, of course. Let's go back, close this preview. Now, first thing I'm going to do is take out this entire style and put it in the external file. So everything which is inside the style tag, I'm going to cut by saying Control X, go to the style.css and paste it. Okay. The good thing about AI Coder is that it also gives you comments so that you can understand what is for what. Glassy cards. So there is a class called glass and this is how it is styled. If you want to learn about the code, I'll tell you an amazing thing that you can copy the code, go back to ChatGPT and ask it to explain that line of code. And this is also a good way to learn. Explain line by line. So this way you learn about what is the transform property. See? Okay. So it's a good habit if you really are interested in learning how it functions. So I have copied the code in style.css but haven't linked it yet. So let me quickly do that. And I see that already Bootstrap 5 is linked with the relation of style seat. The good part, I can have more than one link. So I'm going to type in link, hit tab, and then point it at style.css, indent it a little bit, and hit enter so that code is more readable. We found a reference to public code in a recent season. I don't want this. Let me save this file, and if everything happened the way I wanted, we should still be able to see after refreshing the same thing. Okay. Now I see that there are placeholders which is not loading images. Okay. So let's quickly check what's wrong with this portrait placeholder. Okay. Let's check. So you can right click on it and choose inspect on Chrome to find out what's wrong with this image. And it says that there is this image unsplash.com. It's trying to pull, but it's failing. So you can copy the URL by double clicking and check if the image is loading or not. If you see 404, that means this image is not available. So what do? We go to unsplash.com, or so let's pick this one. And I can simply copy the image address from here and go back, check where that image was. And if it's difficult for you to find it out, not a problem. You just go back and then look for the text which is close to that image. So portfolio snapshot, let me just copy this and say Control F here and paste it. Here is the portfolio snapshot, and here is that image which we wish to change. You can also put the image, because it's your image, here in the image folder. And let's do that rather than pointing it at a URL. Let me just uh, open this image in a new tab and save this inside that. And I don't know if it is going to support AVIF format. It should if it's already on the web. So I'm gonna say profile image, and then I can replace this URL with images profile image.avif. Let's check if it is showing up. We need to refresh it and it shows up. Okay, the image height is a little odd. We can definitely edit that, not an issue. But for this demonstration, I'm not going to spend much time on it. Anyway, looks fine. I'm not so bad. In fact, it's revealing this nice texture at the background, which I like. So I'm just gonna let it be. And even after deploying the code, you should be able to change it, right? So we'll do those changes later. For now, let's move to the next step, which is to push the code on. We have used the code on VS Code. Now, this is the stage we are working on. So I'll not go in detail about how Git works and how you set it up. You just have to go to this source control tab and check what do you see. If you see initialize repo, that means your GitHub account is already connected. If you see a different option, that means your VS Code is yet not connected with your GitHub. So I'm going to initialize a repository. I don't have this project posted here uh, on my GitHub. Okay, closed it or what? So these are the repos I have already, and I want to create another repo by initializing it. I'm going to do that. So let me click, and it instantly took the folder name and created the repo, and now I can commit. So it's a mandation that you write something before you commit, and this is just a message which reminds you what you have committed. Committed as in what you have agreed upon to push later. So this is the first commit. I'm simply gonna write first commit and click on commit. And then I have an option of publishing the branch. Let me click on this, and it is asking me where do you wish to publish it. It automatically created the repo for me, which is Rajiv Scorpion slash portfolio 2026. I'm gonna click on this and just wait for a while, and done. It gives me an option of opening this on GitHub. So let's me just click on this, and because I'm not logged into GitHub, it is throwing a 404. It opened up in a different Chrome window. I would just copy this entire URL from here and close this. In fact, let me close this window completely. And here, because I'm logged into this, I can paste that, and I should not get a 404, but rather the files we have in our project. So you see portfolio 2026 and I have all the files here, but and it also tells me that it's 91% HTML and 8.2% CSS. Great. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I already have the Vercel account which is connected with my GitHub. So um, let me go to Vercel. Oh, it's already open here. Let me close these tabs. And I'm going to go to my dashboard and I can add a new project by clicking on this add new. You have to create an account on Vercel, right? You have to create an account on Vercel first before you can do that. So I already have an account. Creating an account is very simple. You can log in from your Google account. Nothing rocket science there. And after you create the Vercel account, you will be taken to your dashboard and you will not see any of the projects. The way I see the projects, you will not see any of the projects. So you just have to go to the add new and click on project. And first time, if you are initiating it, it will ask you to connect your GitHub, which is just a couple of clicks. That's it. And it will ask you for the credential. You give the credentials and it will work out fine. So import git repo. You can add GitHub account. I already have it added here. So it is fetching all the projects which are there on the GitHub. And see portfolio 2026. Did I have to do anything? No, absolutely no. 2 minutes ago, this was pushed on GitHub and it knows about it. I simply have to import it, then review the details here. What it is asking me, the project name is portfolio 2026. Choose where you want to create the project and give it a name. I want to create it under the main project I have, which is Rajiv Scorpion's project, hobby project, and the free projects are called hobby projects basically. And framework preset, you can choose from here. And if you're not sure, which in this case we are not using any framework at all, I can simply go with other root directory. Don't change anything. There is no environment variable here. It's static website, so we don't need any environments to be loaded. And build and output settings also, don't worry about it. It's a very simple website we are hosting, so we shouldn't be worrying about these things. And most of the part will be taken care by the Vercel itself. So just click on deploy and wait for it to do its magic. Yeah. So it's giving me a broken sort of preview. Let me see what went wrong. So I'm gonna go to the dashboard and this is the link I have. Let me click on it and then check if no, the output seems correct. Now this is something which I can share it with anyone and it will work just fine as my portfolio website. Okay. So if you guys want to check its functionalities, go ahead, scan this code and check it. Check my portfolio which I just built. My name is not Arab Mehta, by the way. So is it opening? Looking fine on mobile also? it added a sidebar navigation. So it, you know, pushes the navigation from the right hand side. Great. Okay. So for the images, you know how to replace that by putting the right image in the images folders and linking it. Apart from that, the details, the view details and all those, if I need to improve those, and rather than having a drop down, let's say for this is not looking so nice, right? This view detail, I don't want it to be highlighted as a call to action, but rather a subtle icon or something, more lighter, which expands it. So instead of view details, I can have know more or read more, but not as a button and a drop down, right? So I want to change this part. Okay, how do we do that? First thing, let's go back to the code we have here, and we can go back to ChatGPT and ask it to make the changes and replace the entire code. That can be done, but not an efficient way of working. Rather, what we can do is look for that. Uh, okay, let me make it a little easy for you. Uh, so this is the issue, right? So I'm gonna take a screenshot of this and post it here, and then the view details button looks very bulky and unnecessary, is stealing attention of the user. Rather than having a button with a down pointing arrow which expands and shows more detail, we would like to have just a text, learn more, and on clicking on that, it should exactly behave in the same way, the way it is doing right now. It should expand and show the content. I just need the lines of code which can be replaced uh, to make these changes. Don't give me the whole code, but just the lines of code which are required for changing this. Okay, so all right. So it is asking me to make this is the current version, okay, and I need to replace that with a lightweight learn more text link here. And it is also telling me that if you want it to feel interactive without becoming button like, add this tiny CSS, can go anywhere in your style block. We have externalized the style sheet, so we can copy it and put that in the style sheet. Let's find out this button class collapse. Okay. So we need to find this code. Mm, let's go for button, and yeah, under the work section it is. Yeah, featured work. Wow, there is a button called open all details and close all also. So thoughtful, huh? So we are looking for this, and this is all coming from one single place. We need to find that. Mm, so project one, then project two, and this is the button we are trying to replace. this entire button, right? Hmm. Now, here comes the tricky part. Um, this is repeated throughout the code base in multiple places, and that is the limitation of HTML if you purely work with HTML. If it would have been a different framework such as React, we could have defined the button component separately and simply called that wherever we required it. So saves us a lot of time, um, makes the code more manageable. But in this case, I'm just going to replace the first project, and you guys can do the same yourself. uh, this is what I need to replace. Let's go check. Let me copy this and replace this. Save this and check. Now it says learn more, and there is a drop down, but it's not showing the text, so something went wrong. uh, just a second. Maybe just okay. Rather than replacing this entire thing up, let's take things in our own hand. And I don't want this outline basically, which makes it look like a button. So I can just remove this bootstrap class button outline CSS, and that should do the job. Project one, and I want to remove this part. So I'll just cut it, save this, and it's work. Yes. It's completely removing this. Okay. So the good part about Git is that if you have messed up something here in the code and you don't know what you did, you can always go back and then restore it by clicking here, which discards all the changes you have done. Let me discard it and then come back and then find out that project one and get this button outline light from here by cutting it. And let's see if it removes the outline. Oh, it removes the outline. It also takes away this entire thing. Let it be. Can we use Copilot? Let me try using the Copilot here. Hmm. Change the view details. Uh, remove the outline from the view button details. Uh, button from the featured work section. Let's see what it does. Yeah, okay. Oh, it found out very quickly what it needs to remove. I'll remove the outline styling from all, and it made the changes here. Now it is asking me whether you want to keep the file or undo it. Let it finish first. It's trying to remove all the instances. Great. So it finished the job. Let me see if it worked or not. Okay, it did remove the outline, but ended up making this entire button very visible by adding a background color. Actually, what's happening if we remove the outline, the color of the text is matching with the background. So uh, let's ask it to do a little. We'll keep this, paste the reference, and ask it to adjust the text in light color. Uh, view details is required. No outline. No outline and no background color. Notice that all the changes are happening in the local file. We haven't pushed the code yet to the Vercel. So if you check it in your links, the link I had shared with the QR code, you will not see those changes. So this got changed to this, and now I'm trying to change this to something else. It says done. All view details button now display as light colored text only with no background color or outline. Great. Let's check by refreshing it. Perfect. Precisely what we wanted, right? And does the same thing. So we have not written a single line of code ourselves. We have just given the prompts in natural language, but we have used ChatGPT and also inbuilt agent in the VS Code to get the job done, right? The other things which we need to do is add an image here, add an image here. That can also be done. I showed you how already. I'm just gonna accept what it did by keeping it and then write a note for the commit here. I'll say button improved and say commit and then sync changes. Notice in the graph we know all the commits and we can go back to the previous stage anytime simply by right clicking on it and then going to checkout detached, which will separate this from the branch and then open a version of the code which do not have these changes applied on them. So I have pushed the code already. If you go to the Vercel and go to the deployments, you will see. So 4 seconds ago, it got deployed again. Um, and let me check the, okay, it hasn't yet applied the changes. Achha, I think the changes already happened fast. Let me just refresh this and then check. Shift refresh. No, have committed the change. Did not update on. It still says first commit, which was 21 minutes ago. Let me refresh this, and button improved. I can see 1 minute ago I did this change. And we need to click here, and then if it is not automatically redeploying it, minor changes, so probably that's why it is not paying attention to this. Anyway, let me just shift click to refresh and load. No, we need to redeploy it, so I'm gonna click here and then choose redeploy and say redeploy. Okay. uh, yes, so it redeployed it, uh, and now if I shift click, I should get those no, why those changes are not showing up? This is strange. It may take a while, but eventually it will work out, uh, because you can see that the code is updated here in the GitHub, so it should also work here as well. So let me do some content changes and then test. Change few details to learn more. Let me do this. Maybe what's happening here is because the change is so minimal, Vercel is not paying attention to it at all. So, and it may be caching the old information. I have changed it here, change the view details to learn more, and let me check. Yeah, so locally it's working fine. All the changes are happening the way it is supposed to be. Let me commit this. Um, Change the text to learn more. Sync it also. So in the beginning, if it is not happening, you shouldn't be worried about it. As long as your GitHub is getting, change the text to learn more, getting it, if GitHub is getting the updates, that means things are fine, not a problem. And it may take a while. Uh, the free plan may take a while, but that's not an issue. It will eventually get updated because Vercel keep on tracking the changes which has happened on the GitHub and automatically deploys and redeploys if it is required. I think it is because of the static website. It's taking a lot of time. Doesn't want to allocate service resources to update a static website. Uh, anyway, in that case, if it doesn't work, which is very less likely, minimal chances, you can always take this project, you know, uh, Oh, there is this project has not collected data during the past 7 days. That is what it is saying. Uh, why is so? Now visit your website, get started. Ah, there is something wrong. Get people professional. It will happen eventually. That's not a problem. It will happen. If it doesn't happen, then just simply delete this project and then redeploy it. After you are done with it, redeploy it. Another way of doing it is that you can, since it is static pages, you can also go to GitHub pages. So here in the settings, go to the pages. Okay, it asks you to start a 30. Make this oh, earlier it was free. Now it is asking you to upgrade. Earlier this feature was free, but now you have to rely upon external sources only. Another way of deploying it, if you don't want to deploy in Vercel, you'll have to get a paid hosting account and then host your codes there. Okay, so this is pretty much it for this demonstration. I hope you will be able to follow along and then at least get this single page website ready. Okay, and before you push it to Vercel, it would be a good idea that you just locally test it, and once confirmed after replacing all the images and making those changes uh, which are required, then you push it on Vercel. But while you are making the changes, make sure that the GitHub is connected, because it will ensure that your codes are cleanly maintained. Okay, any questions? No? Great. Thank you so much. Please do this much. And for the CV part, you can put a folder here and call it PDFs, and put the CV inside. Let's copy this text here. I'll just search for download CV. There goes download CV class, and we just need to link the file with this. So uh, there is this A tag here, and this href needs to be changed. So let me see if I have a, yeah, I have some PDF files here. uh, I'll just pick up this one. uh, I don't know what it is. Let me just copy this and paste it inside PDF, and I'm gonna rename it uh, to CV. Ignore this preview, and here where it says href, I'm gonna type in PDF and then choose CV. If I save this, I should be able to download my CV also. So if I click on this here in the local file, and if I click on this, replace this with real CV portfolio before. Okay, it's throwing me a JavaScript alert. Uh, so I'll show, see, this is just because there is a script which tells the user to replace it. No, I don't want. Good. Super fine. Why is it not downloading the PDF? It should download the PDF. Download CV. Aha. I changed it in the wrong place. Here it should be replaced with PDFs and CV. Yes. Uh, Let me just remove this ID from here. It's not required. It's the wrong code I'm sticking. What? Anyway, this can be solved. It's not such a big problem. Linking. It's just throwing a JavaScript alert because the script asks the person who is editing the demo to change it with the real link. So that can be done. That's not an issue. But get this much at least done and test it locally and then try pushing it on version. The first version is fine. You can later again rebuild it and then make a better one. But just to make sure that you have a clarity in terms of end-to-end process, get it done in the first half itself. By 12:30 you should be ready. Okay. So this is the process we followed. Start by writing the prompt, generate the codes, put that in VS Code, post to GitHub, connect with Vercel, and then deploy. Okay, thank you.